Hey everyone, it's Jesse. If you're anything like me, then you might consider yourself to be a starter. You love new projects, new ventures, new opportunities. Those are the things that make you feel like coming alive. So what happens when you know deep down, being maybe an aspiring entrepreneur, that if you're going to build a successful small business that's going to require focus for an extended period of time? What do you do about that when you know that you are a starter type of person who always likes to be doing something new? Well, first of all, I think the important thing is to realize that it does take intense focus over time on one thing in order to be successful as an entrepreneur. If you look at a lot of these entrepreneurs that are starting multiple businesses, even extreme cases like, say, Richard Branson, what you'll find is that in most of these cases, they became extremely successful at one thing first and either sold it and made an insane amount of cash and freed up all their time and energy, or they ended up building it up and hiring a CEO who was all in, who could run it on a day-to-day basis, which freed them up to do other things. They didn't start the new business, their first one, and then as soon as it brought in $25,000 in a year, go start 3 other businesses, which is what some of us try to do. So I guess what I really want to get across to you today is that as a starter, like I am, and if you are, then what you really need to keep in mind is that you got to learn to go all in for something. A lot of us are starting things over and over and over, and we're wondering why we're not succeeding, but we haven't stuck with one thing any longer than 2 or 3 years. A mentor of mine told me the other day that he thinks there's some sort of a 5-year rule, is like this magic number where if you stick with something and you go all in for 5 or more years, it's pretty rare to find a business that's done that that's not ended up becoming successful. Most of the ones who don't make it, they either quit or fall off the train or something at a very early stage, at least in the first couple of years. So very, very important to be all in. Now, you might have noticed from what I said a minute ago that you don't have to be the one going all in. You can hire a CEO, you can sell it to another company that wants to go all in. There are many ways that you can still maintain your identity as a starter and stay plugged into new ventures and things like that you're passionate about and run off on all those rabbit trails. But you got to make sure that somebody is all in on the thing that's paying your bills. Otherwise, it's probably never even going to become the thing that pays your bills. Now, if you've been watching me over the past few years, you might have noticed me doing multiple different things. And Nellie's Natural Ice Pops is one of them. This is another, creating entrepreneurship training programs. But what you might not see in the background is that I really don't spend that much time on these additional ventures. I'm still very, very much focused on VIP Waste for many hours a day, many hours a week, probably more than the average person works. I'm focusing just on my core business. So what I've ended up doing, my little workaround that I've figured out, is that I've noticed that there are so many aspiring entrepreneurs around me who really want to start something and build it, and they are ready to go all in, but they don't maybe necessarily have the right idea. They don't have a good idea yet, or they don't have the right mentorship or the right resources. And in many cases, I've got those resources, I've got the expertise, I've in some cases even got the business idea. So one of the ways that I've found to sort of scratch that itch of starting new things yet remaining very focused is I've partnered with other people who want to be the ones going all in, and I've given as much as I possibly can from things that I have, like, you know, once a week mentorship meetings and things like that in off hours at like 7 p.m. Things that I can contribute without drawing my energy and my focus away from my core business. So if that's the type of person you are, you can get creative, you can go that route, you can still be a starter, but please keep in mind, this is not something that you can be successful at by toe dipping or kicking the tires. This is something that if you're gonna make it, you need to be all in. You need to be focused, not just with 8 hours a day. Got a dog running behind me. Not just with 8 hours a day of your time, but with all of your energy and your mental focus. You need to be just zeroed in, laser focused on what it is you're trying to do with this core idea. If you've got any additional thoughts on this, I'd love to hear them. It's one of the topics I'm most passionate about because it's been one of the most difficult lessons for me to learn. I would love to hear your thoughts. So comment below. If you liked this post, as always, share it with your friends on your page, and I can't wait to talk to you again soon.